Hi, this is Cyrus Fernando alongside Kova International. Today we're going to be speaking with Talia Dean, a British singer-songwriter whose incredible journey through fame, film and faith has shaped her into one of the UK's most authentic and powerful new voices in worship music. Talia began her creative career in film, starring in independent features like Hound and Sacrifice, before stepping fully into music, where her soulful voice and fearless storytelling began to capture hearts. Many first met her on The X Factor in 2017, and later as lead singer of King's Daughter, whose hit Get Up, featuring a legendary guitar solo from Sir Brian May, became an anthem of unity and hope during the pandemic. Behind the spotlight, Talia's story took a deeper turn. In 2023, she experienced a powerful encounter with God that changed everything for her, her direction, her purpose, and her heart. Stepping away from the pop world, she felt called to dedicate her voice to worship, using her music to share her testimony and bring hope to others. Her single, Praise Your Name, again featuring Sir Brian May, has just been released and marks the beginning of a beautiful new chapter, one rooted in faith, healing and transformation. So to give us an insight into her real life, we're joined by Talia Dean, singer-songwriter and worship artist. Talia, how are you doing?
Hello, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us, Talia. Can you just take us a little bit to the beginning of your life, really, and just tell us about your childhood? What was that like for you?
Well, I was born a cradle Catholic of Italian descent. I went to a Catholic school. I was very creative and charismatic as a child. Had a lot of fun.
When did you really first discover your love for music and performing?
I've always loved music, but it was something that came naturally. It wasn't anything I was really driving for in a career. I really enjoyed acting, but people started to say to me, especially when I was in college, oh, you can actually really sing. You've got a really good voice. I just always enjoyed it as a child, but never really took it seriously until people started to notice.
Did you always dream of being in the creative world, and did you always have that passion, or did it take time to develop?
No, I wanted to be a superstar when I was maybe 3. I was a massive fan of Madonna's, and I just thought that I could have her career and I could be her one day. I really, really had a strong hunger for fame.
So tell me about your childhood. Would you explain it as a happy childhood? What was it like?
Yeah, I mean, it was okay. My parents were very young when they had me, so that came with its own complications. I was very close to my grandparents, but yeah, I had most things I wanted.
How would you explain the way that children are being brought up today to the way that you were brought up many years ago?
I think things are pretty much the same, but we're in a generation now where people's eyes are a lot more open. I definitely was singing Madonna songs at a very young age that perhaps I shouldn't have been singing. And I think that's an endless cycle when it comes to the music world. I do think that phones and devices has completely destroyed child play and actually living as a child. But what can you do? You know, when you're a kid, there was something else that was ruining that. You know, they said the TVs would ruin us, and before that, they said the newspapers would ruin us. So you just got to move with the times. But it's a shame. I think it's sad, especially with my own children. I look at and think, oh, you probably won't ever have a childhood like I had, because that was great.
When you look back, was it a happy childhood? Were you out, you were playing with friends and just had all that freedom?
Always out. Yeah, I was always out, and I wouldn't dream. It fills me with the fear of thinking that maybe my child might do half the things that I did, you know, like just disappearing for hours or going on adventures, going for long walks, coming back late home because we didn't have phones then. Yeah, they were scary times great for me, but I can imagine for my parents were terrifying.
So where did that time change in your life from performing? You obviously performing as a youngster, I'm sure, centre of attention, your family loved it during the Christmases and all the parties.
No, they didn't love it.
No, they didn't love it. They were forced,
No.
were they?
Yeah, you will listen to me sing. You will watch me dance.
So where did that progress later? Where did you get things to take to the next step, and where did it go a little bit more professional for you?
I think when I started to study music and drama, when I enrolled for college, my parents told me I had to study travel and tourism, otherwise I'd be getting kicked out because they wanted me to have a proper career. But when I went in, I remembered the table for travel and tourism was here, and then performing arts was there, and watching the performing arts kids come in to enroll in drama and that, I thought, oh, they look so cool and they look like they're having a lot of fun. So for a long time, for months, I'd lied and said that I'd done travel and tourism, but actually I was doing drama.
I mean, it's not easy for any youngster. I've got a daughter now. She's just getting ready for university and choosing her career and her path. And it's not easy at that age, is it, to really think you're going to be deciding things for the rest of your life in a certain way. What would you recommend and suggest to the youngsters today?
Do you know, my biggest regret is just not following my heart and doing what everyone else tells me to do. We are so lucky that we're in an age where you actually can be a pop star if you wanted to. You can be a YouTuber if you want to. And people aren't laughing at that anymore. You know, back in my day, people would laugh and go, oh, she wants to be famous. Oh, you know, she wants to be a YouTuber and all of that. And that was funny. That was someone being an extrovert. But now they're very serious careers. You know, they're making a lot of money. They're doing really well. So I think if you are someone that's not academically strong, that's fine. You can make just as much money doing arts or entertainment or travel or anything like that, especially on TikTok.
Tell us more.
I've seen people make a lot of money on TikTok, £10,000 a week. You know, that it's crazy how we now have taken the power back and we can express anything we want. We can preach the word of God anywhere we want. We can sing anywhere we want. We can have an audience. We can have people listen to us whenever we want. We're not reliant on, to an extent, to the people above us as much. I still think there's an element of control. But we have a little bit more power now to express ourselves how we want.
What does God mean to you personally?
Strength, love, determination. I don't think I'd be able to do half the things that I do without having the faith that I have. He takes away the fear, the suffering, not completely. A lot of it's my work too, but gives me the strength to work on the things that I need to. I've had a big void for many years, and filling it with things that weren't great for me and good for my life, and holding people way too highly than I should have, where I should have been praising God, and that should have been the center of my universe. So yeah, I don't think I could ever go back to not knowing who he is. I would never want to do that. I would never want to live life without him in my life now.
Tell us about your encounter with God. Where did that come from and how did that develop?
It was after a long spell of anxiety, a long spell of sadness. You know, I'd done very well on the X Factor. I had everything that I wanted to have. I had studios in my reach. I could go and make music whenever I wanted. I had a nice car, had a lovely home. I got children around me that I loved to work with. Everything was great. I had great friends. So there wasn't really anything wrong in my life, but I felt very unfulfilled. And that's when I started to realize that I perhaps needed more than material things. And there was no option, really. God forced himself into my life and made me listen. And I did. I was on the fence for a long time. I was pondering, is this something, isn't it? Do I go back to Catholicism? Don't I? And then, boom, I just ended up in a place totally unexpectedly in a church with a vicar's wife. And he didn't give me anywhere else to go. He cornered me, and it was the best thing ever, because I don't think I would have ever listened.
How was your life influenced, do you think, by social media and the people around you? And maybe you did see people so successful and you wanted to get to their heights as well. And maybe when you reach certain heights, you realised, OK, life isn't actually complete and fulfilled like I thought it would be. and it left you quite empty today, and maybe that's what other people are going through today. What do you think?
Well, it's exactly that. Everything's materialistic. The thing with social media, it's a window to see who's doing better than you and who looks better than you and who's thinner than you, who's making more money than you, and who doesn't have wrinkles. And it's a constant thing in your face all the time, and also it can distort your mental health. You end up saying things on social media that perhaps you wouldn't say in real life because you've got this screen as like a barrier. You get this sense of lack of boundary because you're not actually really looking at people. And I think it can be very, very destructive. And I have to sometimes take a step back and think, actually, this isn't serving me at all. I can't ignore the fact that we're in a world with social media that I find sometimes can be very demonic. I can't completely ignore it because I'm in that world, but I have to make better choices, which I do struggle with still. I still look at pictures and think, oh, I would like to do that as well. And you get the glutton and the greed and the selfishness. But every time I go back to the word, or I go back to church, or I go back to people that are around me, like Christians, it reaffirms to me that I'm okay, and I am how he made me, and this is how I'm supposed to be, and there's a reason for it. But it can be absolutely detrimental to your health.
Thank you so much indeed for your honesty as well, of sharing some of the dangers of social media, even for you and I as well. But what advice can you give to those youngsters, those kids who are on TikTok and Instagram, and they don't maybe have that mental maturity to cope with all of that? What would you say to them?
But honestly, a lot of it's fake. Like, please don't look at things in desire, and don't see something and take it for what it is, because I know that a lot of things on there are fake. A lot of the photos, a lot of the happy smiles, a lot of the body shapes, even the singing is auto-tuned, just the most beautiful thing you can post is the most realist, authentic you.
Wow.
Everybody looks the same these days. They all go to the same surgeons. Good for them. But if you are real, raw, unedited, and people can really see you, that's going to draw you much more attention than the airbrushing and the thinning out and all of that. Yeah, a lot of it is fake. I'd say a good 80% of social media is fake.
Very good recommendation, thank you. Now, you were involved in the X Factor. Can you give us an insight? How did you get involved with it? What was that experience like for you?
It was just an off chance, weird day. I knew they were auditioning at the O2. I just had a baby. It was probably not the best idea, but it was something that I wanted to do. I'd been stuck in the house for ages. I couldn't get in the studio, and it seemed exciting to me. I thought if I could just make boot camp, I don't really care if I'm on telly or not, because a lot of them don't get aired on telly. But if I could just make boot camp, which I thought I could at least make boot camp, that I would really love that. It would give me a boost. I had no idea that I would go as far as I have.
What did that lead to you after the next stage when you finished X Factor?
It left me with a lot of knowledge. I definitely saw the music industry and the reality industry in a different light. So it propelled me to do more. People were interested in me. People wanted to work with me. People wanted to take me seriously. I got a blue tick. Back then you couldn't buy blue ticks. You can now. But I had a blue tick and I was like, well, I have made it. I've got a blue tick and everything. I'm really important now. Look at me, everybody. Do you know what? I think it really fed the desire to be famous. It fed that monster so much more, because it's like an addiction, isn't it? You want another hit. You want to be on TV again, and you want to be on a newspaper, and you're just feeding this need to be seen. Like a child screaming for attention. You can go and get it in the music industry.
Can you tell us what advice can you give to any of the youngsters watching today who are literally looking for that fame? They're looking to become famous on social media and get thousands of likes and follows and everything else, thinking that will be the ultimate for them. That's all they need in their life. What would you say, especially after your own experience?
So there's different levels of fame, and it's really important to understand what fame is. I know people that can sell out the O2 and you probably wouldn't even know their name. You will find your people. Your people isn't just Hollywood and the peak of what fame is. It's really important that you are authentic, and then people that really appreciate you will come to you. I always thought fame, Madonna, that's what I want.
Yeah.
You know? And actually now I couldn't think of anything worse. I mean, that level of fame would not be good for me. But I do want followers that listen to me, and I do want to fill out the O2, but not in a sense where it's not putting out the right message. Everything I put out is very intentional. And that's the thing. When you want to become famous and you want to be a star and you want to do that, fine. But make sure it's doing something that you intentionally want to do and you're not being a puppet. And because it's just a massive meat market, isn't it? If you don't do it, someone else will. Yeah. But if you're doing something that comes from within, no one else can copy that. I mean, look at Amy Winehouse. There'll never be another one of her.
Yeah.
She was authentic. She wasn't particularly with the times. You know, she was singing jazz. It wasn't particularly cool at the time. She was very different. And that's why she's gone down in history, because she stayed her authentic self.
Talia, you've had an amazing friendship and collaboration with Sir Brian May. How has that influenced your journey, both musically and personally?
I've known him a long time, actually, but hadn't worked with him. But yeah, he's just amazing. He's such a great teacher. He's such a beautiful person. He would be the perfect Christian if he practiced, because he's such a nice man. He really is just wonderful. The music knowledge he has, what he does in his life, the love for animals, the love for space that he has. Just an incredible person to be around and learn from.
Talia, your new single, Praise Your Name, was born out of an encounter with God. What does this song mean to you personally, and how can you explain this to our viewers?
Well, the most important for me is fundamentally praising and the highest form of praise every day, to be thankful. And that's what message I wanted to bring out, especially at Christmas, because we all tend to forget that we're celebrating the birth of Christ. And that's exactly what it is. And I don't think anybody really, from my world growing up, apart from my Roman Catholic family, but my atheist friends and people that are not really religious, tend to think that Christmas is, you know, a time where we give presents and things. And it was really important for me to remind them that, no, actually, this is a celebration of praise. This is the birth of Christ. This is someone that came and saved us from our sins. So I just want to remind people of that, and I want to keep talking about that. I think that's the thing. Being a Christian is just fundamentally the most important thing about being a Christian is to praise.
What would you say to our viewers who want to share the good news of Jesus, a positive message, but maybe they're worried to share it with their friends or family? What advice can you give to them today?
Don't be, just do it. Just do it. Do you know why? Because there is a community out there that is probably one of the biggest in the world, and you would be so surprised from coming back into faith and talking openly. I realized that my producer was a Christian, and then my other friend was a Christian, and you find that all this support comes out of the woodwork that you didn't even know was there before. You didn't even know that people lived that life. And that's the problem. Christians are so scared to preach now. They're so worried that they're going to get condemned or, you know, persecuted just for being Christian. Actually, the opposite happens. Christians raise and rise together, and they come together. So even though you feel scared, take the first step and watch the community rally around you and support you. It's a powerful, powerful message that spreads far and wide.
Do you have any examples of obstacles or struggles from your personal life that God has helped you to overcome?
My whole faith journey has been that. My whole testimony was me being at my lowest and being saved. And many, many times when I felt fear, I've I've felt comfort in knowing that there is someone up there really looking down on me and really protecting me and making the best decisions for me. And sometimes they're not the decisions or the outcomes that I want. You know, we're human beings. We get sick, we die. These things we can't stop. But what you can do, and is what I really find a lot of comfort in, is knowing that there's a place to go. We're going to be together. I know that we're going to be with God one day. I know that in my journeys or things that I'm scared of doing, like job interviews or studio interviews, things like that, that I've got faith, and I've got a all-being divine presence that comes with me and teaches me and guides me with that. And that's the best thing, really, that the loneliness isn't there anymore.
What would you say to anyone who says their life has gone too far off course and God can't turn it around? What would you say to them?
That's never, ever a case. That you can always turn to God, even in your last moments. And I'm a witness of that, and so is my partner. We've both come to God at a time when we felt like there was no other option. And that's a scary thing. And, you know, you can do terrible things, but we have to remember that even the apostles, they were not perfect. You know, there were zealots and murderers and taxmen, and, you know, there was real controversy within the group of apostles, and he forgave them all, and they learned it's never too late to rectify yourself, ever. It's never too late to find faith and solace in Christ. And even when you think you've perhaps gone too far, it's just not the case.
Talia, can you give our viewers an insight into the heart and the goal of your music?
I would really like to preach the Bible through music. I really enjoy looking at scriptures and turning the scriptures into lyrics and reaffirming a lot of things. I've got a song coming up after this one. A lot of it is taken from the book of Revelations. It's a powerful, powerful song, but also a message so people can second guess and second think that the actions that they do.
What was it like to leave the mainstream pop world and go into the worship world? What was that like for you?
Easy.
Yeah?
It was easy. It was the most easiest decision I'd ever made, whilst knowing it was the right decision. I didn't struggle with it. And it's incredible that I have had so much support in the world of worship that I used to fight and bang my head to get in the pop world. It's incredible that the doors that open for me, really, really, I can only imagine are powered by God. And this is the path he wants me on, because I've not come across any roadblocks. I've been supported incredibly. I've met incredible people like yourself. I work with Kova, who are a massive part of my faith journey. They've showed me the most beautiful films that really inspire me. It's been probably the best thing ever. Wow. And I never, ever thought it would happen.
Talia, how important is it that we have Christian organisations like Kova who are giving hope to the world through Christian media?
Yeah, I mean, Kova is such a needed company, because they are really the messengers. They are the connectors. They are the ones bringing the producers with the directors, with the musicians, you know, people with platforms, people that have power to spread a message far and wide. Yeah. Kova are that central point, and that person that goes around and introduces and networks. And I think it's wonderful that we can all meet each other, and it's like a little network, isn't it? It's great. I really, really have such a love for Kova. I think that what they've done for me as an individual, and what they've brought me things like The Chosen. You know, you can't really ask for any more. They're a wonderful platform. We saw something the other day. It was just the most amazing movie, Sketch. You know, it was just a wonderful movie and a perfect alternative to Halloween, because most parents are like, what am I going to do for Halloween? And then Kova bring out this amazing movie that isn't demonic and horrible. And it's such a warm help. And I just think it's lovely. Really, really nice. A breath of fresh air.
Absolutely. And may God continue to bless Christian organisations like Kova. Talia, what is the final message of hope that you can give our viewers today?
I think it's really important to know that we are within as well. We're all going through some sort of spiritual battle. And I think it's really important that we move forward as a society in the name of Jesus, and we pick up the Bible and we keep referring back to the Bible, so we know where we're going and we have a clear sense of direction.
I want to say singer-songwriter and worship artist Talia Dean, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Cyrus. It was lovely to meet you.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.